Like we told you, the real estate bill was passed by the Rajya Sabha finally today, paving the way for regulation in the unorganized real estate sector. It's a bill that will protect home buyers against erring builders and subsidize loans to boost demand. As per the bill, all realty projects will have to be registered and builders will have to mandatorily disclose completion deadlines, failing which they'll have to pay interest. Builders will also need a buyer's consent for any changes to the property plan. The new bill also puts in place new mechanism for subsidized loans for potential buyers.
The bill also does make life difficult for builders. The importance given to compliance will push up costs and make ongoing projects just a little more difficult. The interest on delays could push costs higher by as much as 6 times. Also, 70% of the sale proceeds will have to be put in an escrow account. Union Urban Development Minister Venkaiah Naidu said that the bill is the need of the hour considering the government's smart city push. He also did say that the realty regulator will help the tax department crack down on black money being pumped into the sector. Let's get you a slice of the conversation that Venkaiah Naidu did have with my colleague Gauri Dwivedi.
See, a regulated and a systematic market will always inspire the confidence of the people, the home buyers or consumers, whatever you call. And the credibility of the real estate sector also will get enhanced. And then more and more people will come forward to invest also.
A lot of builders feel that it could lead to a lot of delays given that all project clearances and all registrations need to be done upfront. And that they feel could be a huge hit for the sector.
The approvals, clearances, after only the time starts.
Right.
Once they get all these approvals, then only the time starts.
Right.
So there is no question of any harassment or delay on that account.
Right.
Now certain benchmarks have been set, created, and once if somebody files a self-certification, automatically deemed to have given permission. If somebody violates the affidavit, then the building is liable to be demolished also.
Right.
So with this, I think there will be buoyancy in the market, there will be more enthusiasm, more confidence among the home buyers also.
Now, how much of sir, penal provisions against errant builders, is that something that could have been avoided, because a lot of builders feel that that could actually be misused at some level as well?
Okay. If you don't violate, and if you are not a willful defaulter, or a, what do you call, I don't want to use the word unscrupulous, unless you are continuously defying the orders of the appellate tribunal,
right,
then only the punishment comes in. Right. Otherwise, it's caution. Otherwise, it's penalty. Right. Then, if you don't, if you persist on not rectifying the mistake and continue to violate, then you are liable. This is there in every act. Even the Telecom Act also is there. Electricity Act also is there. The Reserve Bank Act also is there. There is nothing new. It will act as a deterrent.
And clean the sector.
And clean the sector, and honest people, sincere people need not worry at all. Only fly-by-night operators, they have to worry.
This will be a great confidence booster for the buyers. It should also introduce some accountability and transparency in the working of Indian real estate companies. And perhaps if it does intend to include all agencies, whether the government or the local bodies, or it is also the construction agencies and contractors who are large and otherwise in this country. And last of all, if it starts including the financial agencies and the banking industry, then I'm sure the reform which the Indian Parliament has in mind would have taken place, and it would be a very far-reaching change, keeping the money in the escrow account. If the interest was to come to the buyer, then it will again add to the detriment of the builder. But if it comes to the builder, and if he's proceeded along well in the project, then it should be allowed to be used for the project itself, which I think will go a certain way in ensuring finance.
I think the idea was to create transparency. The idea was to make it easier for the builder, developer. The idea was to make it cheaper and better for the consumer. I hope that the ease of doing business, which was the end objective for all this, is really going to happen. It will be really a great day. So I think first, highest marks on issue of transparency. Now the ease of doing business needs to be examined very, very carefully, and we hope that that comes true very quickly.
It attempts to essentially ensure that consumers have rights. It essentially attempts to clean up the industry by making sure the fly-by-night guys who are giving the entire industry a bad name are no longer finding an ecosystem to survive. And it opens up investors and investments in a broader manner into a sector that will be a lot more reformed, open and transparent, and the entire business between the relationship between the consumer and the supplier here will be predictable and driven by a set of rules rather than plenty of litigation in courts and other places. The idea of this law is not to make things difficult for those who do their work well, correctly, and for whom consumers do not represent somebody to defraud. The idea of this bill is only to target and remove from this industry those who have made it a business of defrauding consumers and putting the consumers at a disadvantage.
All right, that's a game-changing legislation, and as someone who's been caught on the wrong side of those builders, I really hope this does have the teeth and the ability to reset that sector. But the cabinet today did clear a bunch of reforms in the energy space. The government has unveiled